This video is about she sat inside the sports arena and a rich stranger bought her coffee. If this story touches your heart, please mention where you are watching from in the comments. Please like the video and share your thoughts in comments. Leila sat nestled in a corner of the bustling sports arena, the vibrant energy of the crowd buzzing around her. It was an unseasonably warm autumn afternoon and the arena was filled with the excited chatter of fans eagerly awaiting the big game. She didn't particularly care for sports, but she loved the atmosphere, the collective anticipation, the scent of popcorn blending with the faint aroma of sweat, and the camaraderie of strangers united for a few hours. In her lap rested a half-finished sketchbook filled with doodles of the players and exaggerated caricatures of the crowd. Leila had spent the last 2 hours capturing the essence of the moment, her pencil dancing across the page as her imagination took flight. Yet, as the excitement grew, her focus wavered. The throbbing beat of the arena's anthem reverberated in her chest, and she found herself glancing at her watch, considering whether to leave before the game actually started. Suddenly, the aroma of freshly brewed coffee wafted through the air, drawing her attention. She looked up to see a tall figure approaching, his broad shoulders silhouetted against the bright lights above. He moved with a confident stride, and her eyes were immediately drawn to the way his dark hair fell across his forehead. There was something magnetic about his presence. As he drew nearer, a shy smile crept onto his face, illuminating a pair of deep-set, stormy blue eyes that seemed to hold secrets. "Excuse me, is the seat taken?" he asked, motioning to the empty space next to her. No, it is all yours," Leila replied, her heart racing unexpectedly. There was an air of sophistication about him, enhanced by his tailored navy blazer and crisp white shirt. She felt her cheeks flush under his gaze, emphasizing the unexpected effect he had on her. He settled into the seat beside her, placing 2 steaming cups of coffee on the small table in front of them. "I hope you like caramel macchiatos. It is all they had left. I figured you could use a pick-me-up," he said, offering her a warm, inviting smile. Leila tilted her head, intrigued. "You bought me coffee?" "Only if you will, I'll accept it," he replied, his voice smooth as velvet. "I mean, it would be rude not to share when I am sitting here, right?" She chuckled softly, her initial shyness melting away. "Well, I can turn down coffee. Thank you. I am Leila." "Liam," he said, extending a hand. His grip was firm, but there was a gentleness in the way he held her hand, as if he understood the importance of first impressions. "So, what brings you to the game? Are you a fan, or just here for the atmosphere?" "Mostly the atmosphere," she admitted, her fingers still tingling from the brief connection. "I am an artist. I like to capture moments like this." She gestured to her sketchbook, her pride mixed with a hint of vulnerability. "An artist. That is amazing. What do you draw?" he asked, genuine curiosity lighting up his features. "Everything. Really. People, places, sometimes even imaginary things," she replied, biting her lip as she glanced down at her sketches. "Do you want to see?" "Absolutely," he said. Leila hesitated. Sharing her art was always a daunting task. It felt like exposing a part of her soul. But something about Liam's earnestness encouraged her. She'd opened the sketchbook to a page filled with quick sketches of exaggerated cartoonish figures, some with oversized heads and tiny limbs, all of them embodying a sense of fun and whimsy. "These are some of the fans and players," she explained, her cheeks warming as she watched his reaction. Liam leaned in closer, his eyes sparkling with delight. "These are fantastic. You've captured the essence of the crowd perfectly. I love this one," he said, pointing to a particularly animated sketch of a man in a bright red jersey, his mouth wide open in a chair. "Thanks, that is actually my neighbor. He tends to get a bit carried away." Leila laughed, relieved by his enthusiasm. "Your talent is impressive. It is rare to find someone so passionate about their craft," he remarked, placing the sketchbook down and meeting her gaze. "What inspires you?" Leila paused, sensing the weight of his question. "I guess I find inspiration in people. Everyone has a story, and I love uncovering those stories through my art." Her voice softened as she spoke, the sincerity evident. Liam nodded thoughtfully. "That is beautiful. I believe everyone has a story worth telling. It is just a matter of finding the right medium." She was captivated by the depth in his voice, the way he spoke with conviction. "What about you? What do you do?" "I am in real estate, not nearly as artistic. But I love transforming spaces and helping people find their homes," he said, a hint of pride in his tone. "There is something fulfilling in creating a sanctuary for someone." "Sounds like you are more creative than you give yourself credit for," Leila countered, her eyes sparkling with mischief. His laughter echoed, warm and inviting. "Perhaps, but I can draw a stick figure to save my life." I could teach you a few tips, Leela offered, excitement bubbling within her. She hadn't expected to feel such an instant connection, as if they had known each other far longer than a mere few minutes. The deal, but only if you promise to come to one of my open houses. I can have you wandering around in the dark, Liam teased, his tone playful yet genuine. Open houses, are you trying to sell me a house? She shot back, her heart racing, equally from the banter and the chemistry crackling between them. Only if it has a great view for all your future artwork, he replied, his gaze locking onto hers, a playful challenge hanging in the air. Before Leela could respond, the announcer's voice boomed over the speakers, signaling the start of the game. The crowd erupted into cheers, and she instinctively turned toward the field. The players jogged onto the turf, and a wave of excitement washed over the audience. Looks like we're in for a show, Liam said, leaning back in his chair, eyeing her sideways. Leela turned back to him, her heart fluttering at his proximity. Are you actually a fan? I enjoy the games, but I am more here for the experience and to hang out with you, he replied, a hint of flirtation coloring his words. Her breath hitched. You didn't just come to buy me coffee? Maybe I did, maybe I didn't, he said, his smirk teasing her. What if I told you I had a hunch we'd have a good time together? Leela's cheeks burned again, but she couldn't help but smile back. There was a spark between them, a palpable tension that crackled in the air like static electricity. Well, you're not wrong. The game began, but neither of them seemed to pay attention to the field. Instead, they found themselves lost in conversation, the world around them fading. They shared stories of their lives, the dreams, and the insecurities that lingered just beneath the surface. As the minutes passed, the playful banter transformed into something deeper. Leela found herself drawn to the way Liam listened intently, his focus unwavering as if she were the only person in the arena. But a flicker of doubt crept into her mind. Was this chemistry real, or was it just the thrill of the moment? She had been hurt before, and the idea of opening her heart to a stranger was both exhilarating and terrifying. As the first half of the game unfolded, laughter bubbled up, but with it came an undercurrent of uncertainty. Could she trust this connection? Or would it be just another fleeting interaction lost in the chaos of life? Just then, a wave of commotion erupted from behind them. Leela turned to see an animated group of fans spilling over their section, a few too many drinks in hand. Hey, you two look cozy, one shouted, waving a half-empty cup in their direction. The sudden intrusion shattered the moment, and Leela felt a knot form in her stomach. Liam glanced back at her, a flicker of annoyance flashing in his eyes. Ignore them, they were just here for the hype, he said, attempting to regain their earlier connection. But Leela's mind buzzed with unease. She didn't want to be seen as just another face in the crowd. She wanted to be more than a momentary distraction. Would Liam see her as that if they continued to be surrounded by chaos? Her heart raced as she tried to shake off the feeling, fighting the urge to pull back. Yeah, let us try to focus on the game, she said, forcing a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. Liam tilted his head, studying her for a moment. Hey, are you okay? You seem a bit off. His concern was genuine, and it made her heart flutter again, but she didn't want to seem vulnerable. I am fine, just a bit overwhelmed by the crowd, she replied, her voice slightly wavering. Liam's brow furrowed in thought, and for a split second, she regretted not being more open with. Leela bit her lip, grappling with the swell of uncertainty that threatened to consume the moment. Liam's brow remained furrowed, and she could sense a flicker of concern in his eyes. She took a deep breath, trying to shake off the knot in her stomach. Really, I am fine, she insisted, her voice firmer this time. It's just a bit too much energy for me to handle all at once. She managed a smile that felt stronger. Energy? Is that what we were calling it? He replied, his tone lightening as he leaned closer, the warmth of his body reassuring. I thought you were an artist, not a sports commentator. Though I commentate on life all the time, she teased back, the banter easing some of her tension. But the crowd's enthusiasm can be a bit overwhelming, you know? He nodded, his expression softening. I understand, I am more of a quiet observer myself, usually. Leela couldn't help but wonder what drew him to a vibrant place like this if he preferred the quiet. So, how did you end up here anyway, planning to make a lot of new friends? Liam chuckled, a rich sound that made her heart flutter. Not exactly. I actually came because my brother is playing tonight. I thought it'd be fun to support him and maybe find someone interesting to talk to. Leela felt a warmth spread through her at his words. You think I am interesting? Absolutely. You're captivating, even in a chaotic place like this, he said, his gaze unwavering. The sincerity in his voice sent a rush of warmth to her cheeks, and she hoped the blush wouldn't be too apparent. Just as they were regaining their easy rhythm, the Rock's fans behind them erupted in laughter and cheers. A drunken man in a bright jersey nearly toppled backward, spilling his drink dangerously close to them. Leela flinched, and Liam instinctively moved closer to shield her from the impending mess. "Well, there's," Liam exclaimed, chuckling lightly at the chaos. He turned to Leela, his expression a mixture of amusement and concern. "Looks like they were having their own show." "Yeah, I guess that's one way to enjoy the game," Leela replied, trying to suppress a smile, but her earlier concern about being swept away resurfaced. Liam caught her gaze and held it, an intensity in his eyes that made her breath hitch. "Hey, I get it. If you ever want to escape this madness, just say the word. We can find a quieter spot in the arena." Feeling a surge of warmth at his offer, Leela hesitated for a moment. "I appreciate that, but I think I can manage. I mean, it's just a game, right?" "Just a game," he echoed, raising an eyebrow playfully. "You're not very convincing. I can see the artist in you wanting to capture all this energy." "Maybe," she admitted, her heart racing at the prospect of pulling her sketchbook back out. "But I am also the person who thrives in quiet corners." "Then let us mix it up. Why don't you sketch something over the chaos, capture the contrast," he urged, nudging her gently. Leela chuckled, the idea of sketching the chaos both terrifying and thrilling. "You really want me to draw the chaos?" "Why not? That's all part of the experience," he said, his enthusiasm infectious. "Plus, I bet it'll be hilarious to look back on." "Okay, challenge accepted," she said, feeling emboldened by his encouragement. She flipped open her sketchbook, her heart beating faster as she began to create. As she sketched, Leela occasionally glanced over at Liam, who watched her with an appreciative gaze, leaning back in his chair, arms crossed casually. It sent a rush of confidence through her, compelling her to capture the energy of the crowd with renewed vigor. "This is brilliant," Liam exclaimed after a few moments, leaning in to catch a glimpse of her work. "You've really captured the chaos. Look at those expressions." Leela blushed at his words, but she felt an undeniable thrill at his praise. "Thanks, I never thought I'd draw something like this in an arena." Liam leaned closer, his shoulder brushing hers, sending warmth skating down her arm. "You're incredible, Leela. I've never met anyone who could turn a Rock's crowd into art like you." His proximity stirred something deep within her, and she fought the urge to lean slightly against him. "I am just trying to survive the noise," she replied, her voice soft, laced with an underlying tension that crackled between them. "Survival mode suits you," he said, a playful glint in his eyes, but then his tone shifted slightly. "But I can't help but wonder, are you really okay?" His genuine concern cut through the playful banter, and Leela felt a wave of vulnerability wash over her. The way he looked at her made her heart race, but the fear of what it could mean held her back. "I am, I promise," she said quickly, not wanting her doubts to overshadow the connection. "Just a bit overwhelmed, I guess. It has been a while since I've felt this alive." "Alive?" he echoed, tilting his head. "What do you mean by that?" She hesitated, wrestling with her thoughts. "I mean, I am usually lost in my art or at home alone. This," she gestured around the arena, "is new territory for me." Liam's expression softened, and she saw an understanding in his eyes. "New can be good, you know. It can spark creativity in ways you wouldn't expect." "Maybe," Leela replied, "but it can also feel like a slippery slope." "Slippery, huh? I like a good challenge," he said, his voice playful, yet there was an intensity behind his words. "But only if you're willing to take the leap too." The weight of his words sunk in, and Leela felt a flutter of uncertainty. Did she dare leap into this connection? What if it led to heartbreak? But then the way he looked at her, the way he engaged with her, made her think that perhaps this could be different. As the game progressed, they talked more deeply, sharing snippets of their lives, and Leela found herself opening up in ways she hadn't anticipated. "I used to think I had it all figured out," she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. "But then I felt lost, like I was just going through the motions." "Life has a way of doing that," Liam replied, his tone sympathetic. "But maybe we can find our way back together." There was a moment of silence, the weight of his words hanging in the air. The crowd cheered, a loud roar echoing around them, but Leela was lost in his gaze, a world around them fading. "Together?" she echoed softly. Liam's lips curled into a smile, a mixture of mischief and sincerity. "You know what I mean. We're re-experiencing this together right now, so why not see where it leads?" The warmth in his voice made her heart race. "You're quite the smooth talker, Liam," she teased, attempting to break the intensity of the moment. Only when the moment calls for it, he replied, leaning closer, his voice dropping. But I meant every word. Their gazes locked, the chemistry between them crackling like electricity. Leela felt a surge of emotions bubble within her, curiosity and caution intertwined as she wrestled with the question that hung in the air. Before she could respond, the game reached a pivotal moment, the crowd erupting into a frenzy that pulled them back into the present. Leela blinked, her heart racing from both the tension between them and the energy of the game. Liam chuckled, shaking his head. Guess we back to reality. Yeah, guess so, she said, trying to hide the disappointment that lingered. But as the game continued, the thrill of the moment returned, laughter filling the air, and Leela found herself ensnared in excitement again. Yet beneath the surface, her heart ached with the unspoken connection they had forged. As the seconds ticked by, the thought of even temporarily letting go of that connection weighed on her. Hey, Leela. Liam asked, his voice low. She turned to him, her heart skipping a beat. Yeah. After the game, maybe we could grab dinner? Just the two of us? The question hung in the air, filled with hope and uncertainty. Leela's breath caught in her throat. She felt her heart racing, excitement battling with fear. Dinner? Yeah, unless you've got plans or want to escape me, he said, the teasing lilt in his voice unable to mask the underlying vulnerability. Her heart swelled at the earnestness in his eyes. I'd love to, she said, the words tumbling from her lips before she could second-guess herself. A bright smile broke across his face, lighting up the space around them. Perfect, I am looking forward to it. And in that moment, amidst the bustling chaos of the arena, Leela felt a rush of hope. Maybe, just maybe, this would be it. As the game progressed, their laughter ebbed and flowed with the crowd's roars, yet beneath the surface, a current of tension entwined their conversation. Leela could feel the thrill of anticipation, the promise of what lay ahead lingering in the air like the scent of fresh popcorn. I can't believe you're actually going to draw that chaos, Liam said, leaning back in his chair, arms crossed, a teasing glint in his eyes. Leela chuckled, her pencil gliding across the page as she captured the frenetic energy of the fans. If you were going to keep encouraging me to step out of my comfort zone, I might as well embrace it fully. Oh, I am a big believer in the get out of your comfort zone philosophy, he replied, a playful smirk on his lips. It leads to great stories. Leela raised an eyebrow, curious. What is the best story you've got from breaking out of your own comfort zone? Liam's expression shifted, and for a moment she caught a glimpse of something deeper behind his jovial facade. Well, there was this time I decided to take a spontaneous trip to Italy. I barely knew how to say hello in Italian, but I went anyway. Her eyes widened in surprise. Really? That sounds incredible. What made you go? He chuckled, the sound rich and warm. Honestly, a heartbreak. I needed an escape, a fresh start. Sometimes, life pushes you, and you just have to leap into the unknown. Leela felt a pang of empathy for him, recognizing the courage it took to share that. I get that. I've had my fair share of escapes too. They can be liberating. Liberating, yes, but it can also be a little scary, don't you think? He mused, his gaze steady on hers. What if you leap and fall? Or what if you leap and fly? Leela countered, a teasing smile on her face, hoping to lighten the mood. True enough, he replied, his eyes sparkling. But I am still working on my flying skills. Maybe I can help you with that, she suggested, her heart racing at the idea of taking on that challenge together. You yawn, but only if you promise to let me in on your art secrets, he said, nudging her playfully. A deal, she replied, feeling a warmth bloom in her chest as she caught his gaze. It felt as if the world around them faded, leaving just the two of them suspended in a bubble of possibility. Then a raucous cheer erupted from the crowd as a player scored a goal. Leela turned her attention back to the game, her heart pounding not just from the excitement but also from the lingering warmth of Liam's presence. See, that is the kind of energy you can capture in a still sketch, he said, nodding toward the field. It is electrifying. Leela nodded, feeling that energy resonate within her. It really is, the passion of the crowd is intoxicating. It's just like coffee, Liam added, a playful smirk dancing on his lips. Funny you mention that, she replied, glancing down at the half-finished caramel macchiato that still sat on the table. I actually prefer tea. Tea? We can have that, he teased, leaning closer. Maybe I can change your mind, a daring proclamation. I will convert you into a coffee lover by the end of the night. Leela laughed, her heart fluttering at his playful determination. Bold claims, Mr. Real Estate. It is all part of my charm, he said, his voice low and inviting. As the game continued, they shared more stories, laughter spilling effortlessly between them. But as the clock ticked down toward the end of the half, Leela couldn't shake the feeling of uncertainty that clung to her. Did Liam really want to get to know her, or was it just the thrill of the moment? And what about her own feelings? She had been hurt before, and allowing herself to fall for a stranger in a crowded arena felt reckless. Her internal conflict gnawed at her, and for a moment she lost her focus, her pencil stuttering on the page. "Hey," Liam said softly, his tone shifting as he caught her eye. "What is going on in that beautiful mind of yours?" She hesitated, unsure how to articulate her feelings. "It is just I don't know, I didn't expect to connect with someone here like this, that is a little overwhelming." His expression softened, and he leaned closer, his eyes searching hers. "Overwhelming in a good way, right?" "Mostly," she admitted, the honesty slipping out before she could stop herself. "But there is also a part of me that is afraid." "Afraid?" he echoed, his brow furrowing slightly. "Of what?" "Of what this could mean. What if we don't have anything in common outside this moment? What if it is just a fleeting encounter?" She glanced away, feeling vulnerable for revealing her fears. Liam paused, the weight of her words hanging in the air. "I get that fear, but isn't it worth finding out? Life is too short to hold back." "But what if it leads to heartbreak?" she whispered, her heart racing as she dared to meet his gaze. "Then we learn, right? It is part of living," he replied, his voice steady and calm. "Besides, I can't imagine a better person to go through it with than you." His words pierced through her defenses, and for a moment she felt a swell of courage. "You really think so?" "I do," he said, his gaze unwavering. "And I wouldn't have asked you to dinner otherwise." Leela felt warmth bloom within her, a flicker of hope igniting. "You're right, I shouldn't let fear dictate my life." "Then let us enjoy this moment," he said, his smile brightening the atmosphere around them. "No more thinking about what could go wrong. Let us just be here now." Taking a deep breath, Leela nodded. "Okay, here and now." As the final whistle blew, signaling the end of the game, the crowd erupted into cheers, and Leela felt a rush of exhilaration wash over her. "Looks like your team won," Liam said, his excitement infectious. "Yeah, it seems so," she replied, her heart still racing, both from the game and the connection they had shared. "Ready for dinner?" he asked, standing and offering his hand to help her up from her chair. Leela hesitated for a brief moment, feeling a flutter of nerves. But then she took his hand, and the warmth of his grip sent jolts of electricity through her. "Let us do this," she said, feeling a surge of determination. As they navigated through the throngs of fans spilling out of the arena, Leela glanced up at Liam, feeling that familiar spark between them. "So, where are we going?" "There is this little Italian place nearby. I thought we could grab a table and chat more without the crowd," he replied, his eyes lighting up with enthusiasm. "Sounds perfect," she said, unable to hide her smile. As they walked side by side, Leela felt a sense of ease settle within her. But in the back of her mind, questions loomed. What would dinner reveal? Could they transition from the intensity of this moment to something real and lasting? When they reached the restaurant, the intimate ambience enveloped them, soft light casting a warm glow over the small tables. They settled into a cozy corner, the hustle of the arena replaced by soft music and the clinking of glasses. "Wow, this place is cute," Leela remarked, glancing around. "I love the vibe." Liam smiled, visibly pleased. "I am glad you like it. I figured it would be nice to escape the madness of the game for a bit." As they perused the menu, Leela felt a wave of gratitude wash over her. "Thank you for tonight, Liam. I didn't expect any of this." "And neither did I," he admitted, meeting her gaze. "But I am really glad it happened. You read different." "Different how?" she asked, tilting her head, intrigued by his words. "Different in a way that makes me want to know more," he said, his tone sincere. "It is like you have this energy about you that draws me in." Her heart raced at his words, but doubt flickered within her. "You barely know me," she countered, a hint of uncertainty lacing her voice. "True, but I want to change that," he replied earnestly. "I feel like there is something special here." The warmth of his gaze made her breath hitch, and for a moment she felt as if the world outside had faded away. "You might be right," she whispered, feeling an exhilarating mix of excitement and fear. As their conversation flowed, they delved deeper into their lives, laughter intertwining with heartfelt confessions. Leela shared her struggles as an artist, how she often felt lost in a world that seemed to move too fast. "I get that," Liam replied, his tone serious. As the waiter approached their table, Leela felt a twinge of nervousness. The restaurant was intimate, with soft candlelight flickering between them. It was a stark contrast to the chaotic energy of the arena, and she found herself torn between excitement and apprehension. Good evening. Can I get you started with some drinks? The waiter asked, his smile bright, oblivious to the tension hanging in the air. Sure, Liam replied smoothly, glancing at Leela. What do you feel like, Leela? Wine or something stronger? Maybe a glass of wine would be nice, she said, feeling a bit more at ease. A red, if they have it. 2 glasses of your finest red, please, Liam said, his tone confident as he turned back to Leela. What about food? Any cravings? Leela glanced at the menu, her heart racing as the knowledge of their growing connection coursed through her. I am thinking pasta, something comforting. Can tea go wrong with pasta? I'll join you. How about we share a few plates, make it more of a feast, he suggested, his eyes dancing with mischief. Sounds like a plan, she replied, a smile creeping onto her lips. There was something intoxicating about him, his energy, his genuine interest. And yet the uncertainty lingered at the edges of her mind. Once the waiter left, Leela felt a shift in their dynamic. She leaned back, letting the warmth of the atmosphere envelop her. So, tell me more about the spontaneous trip to Italy, she prompted, eager to hear about his adventures. Liam leaned forward, his expression shifting into one of deep contemplation. It was an escape, I was in a rough spot. I'd just gone through a breakup, and I needed to find myself again. Italy seemed like the perfect place for that. What was the most memorable part? Leela asked, intrigued. Well, I discovered a little cafe in Florence. The owner was this elderly gentleman who would sing while serving coffee. I didn't understand a word, but it felt like magic. He chuckled, the corners of his mouth lifting. And the pasta, though, I can still taste it. Now, that sounds enchanting. I wish I could capture moments like that in my art, she said, feeling a pang of longing as she remembered the sketches she had left behind. Maybe you can, he suggested, his voice slow and earnest. You have a gift, Leela. You see the world differently. I've seen your sketches. You can bring that magic to life on paper. Her cheeks flushed at his praise, but a flicker of doubt crept in. What if I couldn't tea? What if I lose that spark again? Liam reached across the table, his fingers brushing against hers, sending a jolt of warmth through her. You have it, I promise. Sometimes you just need a little push to remember. As their fingers brushed, a rush of electricity coursed between them, and Leela's breath caught in her throat. She felt a pull toward him that both exhilarated and terrified her. I appreciate the support, she murmured, the weight of his gaze holding her captive. A moment passed, the air thick with unspoken words. Then, as if sensing her internal struggle, Liam withdrew his hand slightly, leaning back. Let us shift gears. What about you? What led you to become an artist? Leela swallowed, grateful for the distraction. Art has always been my escape. I can express what I am feeling without words, but sometimes it feels lonely. Liam's expression softened, his brow furrowing with empathy. You are not alone anymore, Leela. You have me. A warmth spread in her chest at his unexpected declaration. But the doubt bubbled again. What do you really want, Liam? It feels like we were in this beautiful moment, but what happens when the night ends? He leaned closer again, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. I want to know you. This connection we have. I don't. He wanted to end when the clock strikes midnight. Her heart raced, each beat echoing with the tension of their conversation. And if we don't click outside of this? Then we learn from it, he replied, his gaze unwavering. But I'd rather take that chance than walk away without exploring what we could be. The waiter returned, placing their drinks in front of them, interrupting the charged moment. Leela took a sip of her wine, savoring the rich flavor, hoping it would calm her nerves. Cheers, Liam said, lifting his glass, his eyes sparkling. Cheers, Leela echoed, clinking her glass against his, feeling the warmth of the moment envelop them once more. As they delved deeper into conversation, they shared fragments of their lives, revealing vulnerabilities and dreams. Leela felt her defenses slowly crumbling beneath Liam's unwavering interest. What do you dream about, Leela? He asked softly, his eyes locked onto hers, the noise of the restaurant fading into the background. Honestly, I dream about being able to share my art with the world, she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. I want to leave a mark, create something that makes people feel. You already do, he said, sincerity radiating from his tone. Your sketches, they capture emotion. You have a unique voice. Thank you, she said, warmth flooding through her. But sharing them with others feels terrifying. What if they don't connect with what I create? Then you find the right audience. You'll find people who resonate with your work, he replied earnestly, his gaze never wavering. It's about being true to yourself. Leela felt a swell of hope, yet the nagging fear lingered. It is just I don't want to fail again. The last time I put my work out there, it didn't go well. Liam reached for her hand again, squeezing it gently. You are not defined by past failures, Leela. You are redefined by your courage to try again. His touch ignited a fire within her, igniting a flicker of courage. I wish I had your confidence, she confessed, her voice tinged with vulnerability. It is not always confidence, sometimes it is just a willingness to leap, he said, his eyes twinkling with determination. And I am here to catch you when you fall. The weight of his words settled in her chest, intertwining with the warmth of his hand on hers. She felt held in a way she hadn't experienced in a long time. As their food arrived, their conversation shifted and laughter filled the air once again. But underneath it all, Leela felt the tension simmering, a pull that threatened to unravel her composure. Okay, real talk, what is the craziest thing you've ever done? Liam asked, a playful glint in his eyes. Oh, that is easy. I went skydiving once, Leela said, a mischievous smile spreading across her face. It was terrifying and exhilarating all at once. Liam leaned in, intrigued. Skydiving? Now that's bold. I can say I've ever had the guts to do something like that. It was a rush. You should try it sometime, she encouraged, her enthusiasm bubbling over. Challenge accepted, but I am going to need you to be there to motivate me, he quipped, a teasing smile on his lips. Leela laughed, her heart soaring. Deal, but only if you promise to take me on a spontaneous trip to Italy. Only if you promise to bring your sketchbook, he countered, playful determination in his gaze. The deal, she said, a thrill of excitement coursing through her. But as the laughter faded, the weight of reality settled back in. Could they really explore this connection further? Leela? Liam's voice cut through her thoughts, pulling her back into the moment. Don't overthink what is happening between us, he said, his tone steady yet gentle. Just enjoy it. I want to get to know you better however that unfolds. I want to, too, she admitted, feeling a mix of exhilaration and fear. But I am afraid. What are you afraid of? He asked softly, his eyes searching hers. Of being vulnerable, of what it could mean for us, she replied, her voice trembling with honesty. Vulnerability is where real connection happens, he said, his words wrapping around her like a warm blanket. And I am here to support you. The sincerity in his voice broke down the wall she had built around her heart. You really mean that? She whispered, feeling a spark of hope ignite within her. Absolutely, he replied, his gaze unwavering. I want to be here for you, Leela, whatever that looks like. With those words, the tension between them shifted, igniting a flame of possibility that lit up the dimly lit restaurant. She felt a mingling of fear and excitement, knowing she was on the edge of something extraordinary. Okay, here's to new beginnings, she said, raising her glass again. To new beginnings, Liam echoed, clinking his glass against hers, their eyes locked in a moment suspended in time. And as they settled back into conversation, Leela felt